Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chapter 1 and Beyond. This is episode 11. Holy moly, I'm getting up there. So today's episode is pretty much like a chill episode. Gonna do a book tag, gonna do like a quick life update because life has been absolutely crazy lately. And yeah, I just think that this is a good change up because been talking a lot about Herkyed 2.0 on this podcast, and I'm still going full throttle with it. Um, but I am really wanting to change things up and not really talk about my plans for that. Just because like I already have a solid plan on how I'm going to get through it. It's just it's a lot of books and it gives me a headache just thinking about it. Um, so I hope you guys have been doing well. I know that the last episode was like kind of like a combo because I failed to get them out, but it's okay. So we're back on schedule, if you will. But today's August 1st, 2025. Uh, Crazy to think that it's already August, but here we are, and tired than ever. um, but yeah, I've just been working a lot. Been working a lot, been reading a lot, been running around with the kids a lot. Um, I've been like planning a lot for Girl Scouts. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, I am a Girl Scout troop leader. So that's pretty much a part-time job in itself. um, just because like with the ambiance, if you're familiar with scouting, they have like certain badges that they can earn, and there are specific steps and skills that they have to learn, and you have to plan the activities. And though they have stuff that is out of the box, I like to zhuzh it up a little bit. I probably make it harder on myself than what it should be, but I look at the skills that they're trying to, um, pertain in each of these badges, and I create my own activities. A lot of the activities the girls have been doing has been outdoorsy stuff, which I mean, they're really into. But then we have like a lot of girls that are like either doing vacations or just life is crazy busy with sports. And I totally get it because now that softball season's over with, swim season's about to kick up. And yeah, not not for the faint of heart, especially for me, because there's really no time for rest. Um, and right now, I'm on this really, really weird schedule. So if I do sound kind of like down and groggy, it's because I've been randomly waking up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then just randomly staying awake and only getting several hours of sleep. Um, so to say the least, it's been crazy busy. It's definitely been exhausting. I just celebrated my birthday this past week, so yay to my last year of my 30s. Um, Not looking forward to next year. I think I might stop counting after next year. I joke about it all the time, but I'm definitely starting to feel my age. But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, as far as reading goes, I guess like I could kind of do like a reading wrap up for July because quite honestly, it's been the best reading month out of the entire year, and quite honestly, since I've been kind of keeping a track of my reading, and very proud of myself because I am really getting down to business with this physical TBR, which is the whole reason for this project. But um, I can officially say that I finished 12 books in July. So a lot of the books I did physically have. I did not have time to physically sit down and read them. So I did the audiobooks through the Libby app through my library, which still counts to me. I've been really in the groove of like doing audiobooks lately just because like it kind of immerses me more, and I'm able to multitask. Like I'm able to, do my commute to work, and I'm able to, do my development work and do the reviews and the testing and stuff. And honestly, like, instead of trying to flip through like my playlists of trying to figure out what song or what music I want to, like, I'm in the mood for, like, it has allowed me to stay focused a lot better while I'm in the office and everything. So those 12 books that I finished in July are the following. So we got In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. We have We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. I finished Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. I finished Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I finished Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Cackle by Rachel Harrison. Atmosphere, A Love Story by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Chara Charipotra. Sorry if I botched that name up. And then the other author on that book is Clayton. Donnell Clayton. Sorry if I botched that up. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. I also finished Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, and Wild Card by Marie Lu. Um, I have to say that out of all these books that I finished, the most memorable mentions that I personally loved was like In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. That was absolutely hilarious and so so good. Um, I really really loved Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'll go into more detail on that in a minute. I definitely loved Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody. That is the first in this System Divine series that I have literally had on my shelf for God knows how long. Um, Wild Card, I did finish that duology this month, so that was fantastic. And then, last but not least, Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. Those books in particular, I gave solidly a 5-star review on them. And if you are on hardcover, I would love to connect with you. So I'm constantly logging my reading and constantly logging my thoughts on there. So if you are on the hardcover.app website, they do have a actual mobile app that you can connect with as far as a website through your computer. But yeah, Bookworm Emerson is my user tag for that one. But okay, so yeah, so let's talk about In the Lives of Puppets. So In the Lives of Puppets, um, it is a um, sci-fi kind of like a loose retelling of Pinocchio, which I found really, really funny. But it's TJ Klune. So every time I see a TJ Klune book come out, I have to like read it. I have never been disappointed in any TJ Klune book that I've ever picked up. My first exposure with TJ Klune was The House on the Cerulean Sea. That was absolutely fantastic. I read the second in that series, Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I believe actually that was the duology, so I did finish that duology up. Um, like I'm trying to think of the other ones that I read of TJ Klune. Um, I know I have The Bones Break Breathe Oh no, The Bones Beneath My Skin. That's one of them. I've heard of Wolf Song. I don't think I have any other ones by TJ Klune on my shelf, but oh, the other one that I've read of his is Under the Whispering Door. That was another one I read of his. Absolutely fantastic. But like I said, like anything he puts out, like in my eyes, I just love it. But I'll just read you kind of like the little blurbish thing, if you will. But it says New York Times best-selling author T.J. Klune invites you deep into the heart of a peculiar forest and on the extraordinary venture journey of a family assembled from spare parts. In a strange little home built into the branches of a grove of trees lived three robots: fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. Victor Lawson, a human, lives there too. They are a family hidden and safe. The day Vic salvages and repairs an unfamiliar android labeled Hap, he learns of a shared dark past between Hap and Geo, a past spent hunting humans when Hap unwittingly alerts robots from Geo's former life to their whereabouts. The family is no longer hidden and safe. Geo is captured and taken back to his old laboratory in the city of electric dreams. So together, the rest of Vic's assembled family must journey across an unforgiving and otherworldly country to rescue Geo from decommission, or worse, reprogramming. Along the way to save Geo, amid conflicted feelings of betrayal and affection for Hap, Vic must decide for himself, can he accept love with strings attached? Inspired by Carlo Collodi's The Adventures of Pinocchio and like Swiss Family Robinson meets Wall-E, In the Lives of Puppets is a master standalone fantasy adventure from the beloved author who brought you The House of the Cerulean Sea and Under the Whispering Door. So yeah, this actually covered I believe an asexual um main character as well. Yeah, because it is LGBTQ, science fiction, young adult fantasy. That's what it's labeled as. I mean, honestly, I could not get enough of this book. I really loved the oh my gosh, the name is escaping me right now, but it is the female of the robots, and it's just the banter in it is just absolutely flippin' hilarious. Like I was cracking up through the entire book. And I did a combo of reading and listening to the audiobook, but I have to say the audiobook brought so much, like it just brought so much more to this book, and I honestly am happy that I did pick this one up in July. Um just because like I knew I wanted to read it just because TJ Klune, but just like the whole premise of it and like the ability to loosely talk through like um a tale like of Pinocchio is just awesome because I don't think I've seen too many like modern day science fiction fantasy esque books do that with the story of Pinocchio. Um, you get a lot of like Beauty and the Beast retellings. You get a lot of Little Mermaid retellings and all that. Peter Pan. I know there's been quite a few of those retellings. And then like Cinderella. But like, there's like a lot more classics, and I would love to find more authors that do just beyond Beauty and the Beast. I've been hearing about a modern retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, I think. I need to look this up because that sounds fantastic. Um, but yeah, um, yeah. So that's my thoughts on that one. Um, so the next one that I gave a 5 star is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, and this was the first in the duology, in Flesh and False Gods duology. But I'm gonna read you the blurb on this one as well. So this one says, number one New York Times bestselling YA author Chloe Gong's adult epic fantasy debut, inspired by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, is a fiery collision of power plays, spilled blood, and romance amidst a set of deadly games. Every year, thousands in the kingdom of Talon will flock to its capital twin cities, San Air, where the palace hosts a set of games. For those confident enough in their ability to jump between bodies, competitors across San Air fight to the death to win unimaginable riches. Princess Kala Tulimi, I'm so bad with names, lurks in hiding. 5 years ago, a massacre killed her parents and left the palace of empty. And she was the one who did it. She was the one who did it. Yeah. Before King Casa's forces in San can catch her, she plans to finish the job and bring down the monarchy. Her reclusive uncle always greets the victor of the game, so if she wins, she gets her opportunity at the last to kill him. And then enter Anton Makusa, an exiled aristocrat. His childhood love has lain in a coma since they were both ousted from the palace, and he's deep in debt trying to keep her alive. Thankfully, he's one of the best jumpers in the kingdom, flitting from body to body at will. His last chance at saving her is entering the games and winning. Caleb both finds both an unexpected alliance with Anton and help from King Casa's adopted son August, who wants to mend Talon's ills. But the three of them have very different goals, even as Kala and Anton's partnership spirals into something all-consuming. Before the games close, Kala must decide what she's playing for, her lover or her kingdom. And then this one is described as a dark fantasy, fiction, romance, science fiction. I personally liked this 5 times better with the audiobook once again. The actors that they have reading through these characters are just absolutely fantastic. And I really like the concept of it being kind of like a Hunger Games type style, but yet you have like body travel and body swapping going on. Like the soul like in this book is like actually aware of being swapped out, and that was a really cool concept for me. I have never really seen something like that happen. Just because like when you get like body swapping in, I can't really think of a great example right now, but most of the time it's like possession, and you don't get that other hint that the other soul that it just took over is fighting back to get control. So, I guess like if you really think about it, like the exorcism is kind of very similar to that, where it fights you fight back against the demon that's taking over your body, but for the most part, like I really enjoyed this one. I am really going to try hard to get the second book in this series, which I believe is called Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. Just because the ending of Immortal Longings like left me on a cliffhanger, and I'm like I really need to know what happens. And I'm not gonna give any spoilers because I feel really bad about the one episode that I did with the Water Moon book. I did a really big deep dive, and I pretty much gave many spoilers in that. So, um, I apologize. But going forward, I think I'm just gonna leave out the details. Regardless, if you're into like books like Hunger Games and body swapping and um, like science fictiony type vibes, I definitely agree that you should definitely put Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong on that list. There are a ton of books that I've been exposed to since like probably 2 or 3 years ago, and every single one that I have picked up was like kind of a similar vibe with Hunger Games and like similar vibe with the science fictiony. Has been just mind blowing, great, fantastic. I have never been disappointed with one. Um, but yeah, let's keep moving along. Just because I do have quite a few more books to cover. So we talked about Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I did change it up with a juvenile middle grade type fiction with Howl's Moving Castle. I've seen um, the Studio Ghibli like adaptation of this, and I fell in love with the story. This book was actually written in 1986, which I found really intriguing. And quite honestly, um, it was one of the most memorable kids fantasy type books that I've read in a long time. Normally, I do not gravitate towards like juvenile fiction or middle grade and things like that, but I was very intrigued by this one. It is a trilogy. There's 3 books in this series by Diana Wynne Jones, but I really loved the movie and I really wanted to get into the books. And I'm just gonna read you the blurb that's on here. Just because, like, I think honestly, if you are into like fantastical, like wizards and adventure and different like creatures and characters like interacting with one another, I think you would like this one too. So the blurb says this entrancing classic fantasy novel is filled with surprises at every turn. An international bestseller, this much loved book is the source for the Academy Award winning nominee for Best Animated Feature. Sophie has the great misfortune of being the eldest of 3 daughters, destined to fail miserably should she ever leave home to seek her fate. But when she unwittingly attracts the ire of the Witch of the Waste, Sophie finds herself under a horrid spell that transforms her into an old lady. Her only chance at breaking it lies in the ever moving castle in the hills, the Wizard Howl's castle. To untangle the enchantment, Sophie must handle the heartless Howl, strike a bargain with a fire demon, and meet the Witch of the Waste head on. Along the way, she discovers that there's far more to Howl and herself than first meets the eye. In this giant jigsaw puzzle of a fantasy, people and things are never quite what they seem. Destinies are intertwined, identities exchanged, lovers confused. The witch has placed a spell on Howl. Does the clue to breaking it lie in a famous poem? And what will happen to Sophie Hatter when she enters Howl's castle? All fans of classic fantasy books deserve the pleasure of reading those by Diana Wynne Jones, whose acclaim included the World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement. As Neil Gaiman stated, she was quite simply the best writer for children of her generation. And I agree. I wish that I had read this sooner, and I wish I had read it as a child because I would have absolutely loved this. It kind of really reminds me a lot of. I have to say, it really kind of reminds me a lot of like Kiki's Special Delivery Service. It's really within that same vibe. And I know Studio Ghibli did do that one as well, but when it comes to books, I would say like this is like a whole vibe of like Neverending Story or um and I'm not making this comparison lightly because Neverending Story in itself is just absolutely fantastic, but um this just like is it is so magical, and I just loved all the characters. I really love Sophie's character, and I'm really excited about like continuing this series. I honestly may reread it just so that my kids can like hear it and everything. So, um, but yeah, really love that one. This is probably the only kids book that I have on this entire list. Um, Okay, let's keep moving. So the next one, Cackle by Rachel Harrison. I gave this a 4.5 stars, and the only reason I gave it 4.5 stars was because there were some parts where I'm like, okay, this is really dragging. It's really like women lit, which I was not expecting. Um, Honestly, I still loved it. It's just, and it was short, it was quick. They deemed it as like a fantasy horror, which I'm not really sure how like that got placed under the horror genre, but maybe because she's a witch, I don't know. But here's the blurb for this one. It states a darkly funny, frightening novel about a young woman learning how to take what she wants from a witch who may be too good to be true. From the author of The Return, which I have not read. All her life, Annie has played it nice and safe. After being unceremoniously dumped by her longtime boyfriend, Annie seeks a fresh start. She accepts a teaching position that moves her from Manhattan to a small village upstate. She's stunned by how perfect and picturesque the town is. The people are all friendly and warm. Her new apartment is dreamy too, minus the oddly persistent spider infestation. Then Annie meets Sophie, beautiful, charming, magnetic Sophie, who takes a special interest in Annie, who wants to be her friend. More importantly, she wants Annie to stop apologizing and start living for herself. That's how Sophie lives. Annie can't help but gravitate toward the self possessed Sophie, wanting to spend more time with her, despite the fact that the rest of the townsfolk seem a little afraid of her. And like, okay, there are some things. Sophie's appearance is uncanny and ageless. Her mansion in the middle of the woods feels a little unearthly, and she does seem to wield a certain power, but she couldn't be, could she? Um, I personally liked Sophie. I thought she was an absolutely incredible character. Um, even Annie too. Like this duo was like perfect. And like the character as a whole for Annie, like she just comes off as she was just completely broadsided by the breakup, and I just don't know how you wouldn't see those signs, but I guess if you're like super infatuated with somebody and you're kind of used to that routine and you're just, you know, broadsided by a breakup, I mean, I guess I could see that being realistic. But I mean, it's funny how like throughout the story though that Sophie really motivates her to being who she uncannily turns into. And I'm not going to give it away. There's no spoilers in this episode. So I just say if you're into like, I wouldn't call it a horror. I would definitely call it like fantasy, but I would not I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's like grotesque horror. I guess it's like cozy horror. I don't know. I don't even know if that's even a subgenre, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I personally like the dynamics between Annie and Sophie in this one. I like the fact that it was witch based and um, if you do read it, you'll find out with the whole spider stuff. But I'm just gonna say I loved Francis. I won't tell you what Francis is, but it kind of reminded me of a Muppet. That's at least what I was picturing. Um, but yeah, this was a really quick read. It was only like 300 pages, so it was like the perfect like mix for like a summer ween type vibe, if anybody knows what that even means. Um, I tend to like in July, I try to mix it up a little bit. Like instead of like reading, like summary esque like books, I try to read like more horror and thriller and kind of mix and match it. But definitely was worth the read. Um, okay, so I'm gonna unload on you guys now. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay, everybody talks about this book. I know this was like the biggest hyped up anticipated book of the year. And I have to tell you that despite it being so hyped up, it was that good. I have read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have read what's the other one I read of hers? Oh, Daisy Jones and the Six. And I have to say, out of the two that I have read, I've never read Carrie Soto or any of that. I would say that this one, Atmosphere, was 1,000 times better than even Evelyn, the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six combined. I just really love the main character, Joan. My God, like it's following these women that are starting part of the NASA space program, and I was just so geeked out throughout this entire book just because like it was all about like astronomy and space science and like what these women went through in the 80s to even get their start at NASA, and how this field really is like very male based, but there's still a spot for women as cunning and smart and amazing as Joan was. But I'll read you the little blurb just because I'm gonna try to follow the same fashion here. Okay, so the blurb says Joan Goodwin has been obsessed with the stars for as long as she can remember. Thoughtful and reserved, Joan is content with her life as a professor of physics and astronomy at Rice University, and is aunt to her precocious niece Frances. That is until she comes across an advertisement seeking the first women scientists to join NASA's space shuttle program. Suddenly, Joan burns to be one of the few people to go to space. Selected from a pool of thousands of applicants in the summer of 1980, Joan begins training at Houston's Johnson Space Center alongside an exceptional group of fellow candidates, Top Gun pilots Hank Redman and John Griffin, who are kind and easygoing even when the stakes are highest. Mission specialist Lydia Danes, who has worked too hard to play nice. Warm-hearted Donna Fitzgerald, who is navigating her own secrets, and Vanessa Ford, the magnetic and mysterious aeronautical engineer who can fix any engine and fly any plane. As the new astronauts become unlikely friends and prepare for their first flights, Joan finds a passion and a love she never imagined. In this light, Joan begins to question everything she thinks she knows about her place in the observable universe. Then, in 1984 of December, on mission STS-LR9, everything changes in an instant. Fast-paced, thrilling, and emotional, Atmosphere is Taylor Jenkins Reid's at her best, transporting readers to iconic times and places with complex protagonists, telling a passionate and soaring story about transformative power of love this time among the stars. And this is genre wise, it's LGBTQ, space, historical fiction, NASA, adventurous, the whole sheblam. Um, Hands down, like when I saw that it was like based off of NASA, I was like, okay, like I'm not really big into like romancy books, but this one just like it just hit all the feels, and um I personally loved Joan as a whole, as a main character, and all of the side characters like Vanessa and Lydia, and um, there's Barbara, and there's Hank and John. Like all of these people, like they just had like such good complementary like traits, and it just really worked well. And I think that's what really drew me into this, not just because of the astronomy, but the characters were really well done. Like it was just chef's kiss perfection. I'm not going to give anything away like I keep saying, but I definitely would say if you're like kind of an astronomy buff like me, um you definitely would love this too. um but yeah, I definitely, if you are a fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid, just go in like blind. Just go in and just pick it up and read it, cuz like some are saying that it was a little boring at first, but if you are really that big of a like a historical fiction NASA astronomy buff, you're going to like devour this book, and it's just so good. So good. The writing was great too. But okay, I feel like I've been going on and on with a lot of these like 5-star reviews, but it's okay. We will somehow get through all this. So the next one I want to talk about is Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. So this one has not really been talked about, and I'm not really sure why, because this book series has been on my shelf for some time. It was released back in 2019. It was about a 5 to 600 page book, so it was like a little lengthy, but I definitely like really liked this one. It really reminded me of like a reimagining of Les Miserables, and it kind of like reminded me of like a like space civilization as well. So like I can't really think of a comparison, but I'm gonna be honest, like it was that good. Like it like the characters that they have in this series so far, I'm very intrigued to keep going with this series. Like Shatine was fantastic. They have a girl that you follow named Owlette. She's part of this like secret society, like hidden library type situation. Marcellus is like the grandson of this like powerful man on the planet. Like they run like all of the like the government and stuff like that. But Shatine is like this young girl um that like very savvy thief. Like she's like constantly like stealing stuff to get, like so many you know, tokens so that she can eat, and people are like kind of in starvation, and it's really sad, like the stuff that happens with the poor, and then like there's this huge gap, and it really reminded me a lot of like kind of what's happening now in modern day. And it really did remind me a lot of Les Miserables, but I'm really excited about continuing this series. The audiobook, if you ever get a chance to grab the audiobook, it is absolutely fantastic. Bravo to those like audio narrators, because they blew it out of the water, and it just made this experience just so much better. I'm definitely keeping this one on my shelf as well. So, really excited and really happy that I did finally pick this series up. Um, there are two more in this series, so I'm really excited about picking up the second and third book. And then the final book that I'm going to talk in detail for the 5 stars is Wildcard by Marie Lu. This is the second in the duology of the Warcross series. Um, all I have to say with this series, it's a young adult, it's science fictiony, fantasy esque, but if you're into like hackers, if you're into like you know gaming for epic glory, things like that. It kind of reminded me a lot of Tron. I don't know why, but it did. But and it kind of also reminded me of Ready Player Two. Not Ready Player One, Ready Player Two. If you've read Ready Player Two, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because that's what it reminded me of, and I'm like, okay, did I know that this book series, like this duology, was made back in like 2015. Um, and then Ready Player Two is a more recent, so I'm wondering if it was inspired off of this series, and I can kind of see how it could have been. But Amika Chen is like the main character in this series, and she's just like just a modern day like teenage hacker, and she's trying to unravel a mystery within Warcross, and trying to play by the rules, and she's like she's just trying to find out information in a very sinister, discreet way. So it was really cool. I like devoured this book up. I definitely think that I wish I had done the whole book as a audiobook, but I did mix and match between physically reading and audiobook with this one. It just the audiobook, like the narrators were just absolutely phenomenal. And it really brought it to life. But yeah, like honestly, I can't think of any other comparisons other than like if you've read Ready Player 2 and you're into Tron, this is definitely a duology you want to pick up. And I really love Marie Lu's writing style, just absolutely great. So, okay, so those were on my like 5-star esque reads. Let's talk about the ones that like kind of missed for me. There's actually only one on this list that kind of missed for me, and it was like Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Charapotra. Oh, I actually did that better. And then Donnell Clayton. So I gave this one a 2-star. And I actually was really excited about this one because it kind of gave me the vibes of Center Stage and Save the Last Dance, like all those like 2000s type dance, Step It Up and things like that. Like it kind of gave me that vibe, but like I just when I started reading this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just like just drama. Like I get it that it's a ballet company and you got like girls fighting to the death, if you will, with the drama, like to get these principal spots, and they're trying to do the rendition of the Nutcracker, and I thought it was like really cool, like being able to see inside like a dance company, but I got ultra annoyed really fast with the racism and the bullying that happened, and the literally the back end like banter that went on behind the scenes with some of these girls, and it just like felt a lot like Dance Moms on steroids. So I did not enjoy this one. I mean, it was a YA, and like a lot of the stuff that one of the girls, like I can't even remember the names because I was just so like frustrated with this book, but I had like probably way too many high hopes for this book, and it just fell short for me. Um, I definitely would not recommend it. I've actually already gotten rid of it. I've unhauled it already. So, it's bye bye. But at least I got it done and it's off my shelf. So, at least I'm weeding through that. So, um, we Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. This really touched on like a lot more serious topics than I was anticipating. This was written back in 2016. It was about a 450 some odd page book. And overall, it was like about this teenage boy that gets like periodically abducted by aliens. Um, he's gay, and he's like going through a lot because of the recent thing that's happened within his life. I'm going to read you the blurb just because it probably makes sense to do so. But it says Henry Denton has spent years being periodically abducted by aliens. Then the aliens give him an ultimatum. The world will end in 144 days, and all Henry has to do to stop it is push a big red button. Only he isn't sure he wants to. After all, life hasn't been great for Henry. His mom is a struggling waitress held together by a thin layer of cigarette smoke. His brother is a jobless dropout who just knocked someone up. His grandmother is slowly losing herself to Alzheimer's, and Henry is still dealing with the grief of his boyfriend's suicide last year. Wiping the slate clean sounds like a pretty good choice to him, but Henry is a scientist first in facing the question thoroughly and logically. He begins to look for pros and cons in the bully who is his perpetual one night stand, in the best friend who betrayed him, in the brilliant and mysterious boy who walked into the wrong classroom. Weighing the pain and the joy that surrounds him, Henry is left with the ultimate choice: push the button and save the planet and everyone on it, or let the world and his pain be destroyed forever. This is a YA science fiction LGBTQ. There is lots of um, there's like quite a few trigger warnings. I'm gonna say that much. The topics that were touched on this, like I really wish I would have had seen the trigger warnings, because there was like a lot of like talk about like suicide and sexual assault and abuse and bullying, and it was pretty heavy. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm so glad that I did read it. I think that for it being a science fiction fantasy, I would say this is more contemporary. I think the only thing that really made it science fiction was like the mention of the aliens, which I kind of like. I don't know. Like for me, it felt like it was more of like a mental illness type thing, more so than actual abduction of aliens. So I don't know. I like I said, I only gave this like a 3.5 stars. Was the characters great? Yes. Like did it, give a message about suicide and, life struggling with bullying, sexual assault? Yes, it did. But um I'm gonna be honest, like I'm probably never gonna pick this book back up. This is a one and done for me. Um, and I mean, it does touch on really sensitive topics. So if you do ever pick this one up, definitely go in like knowing that these trigger warnings exist. Um, but I mean, it's a standalone, so I'm glad I still read it. But and that one had been on my shelf for some time too. So I guess I could say that I officially knocked another one off of my shelf as well. Um, Okay, so I feel like I've been going on and on and on. I think the last book that I want to talk about, to be quite honest, because everyone knows Romeo and Juliet. Um, what's there to say about We Have Always Lived in the Castle? I gave that one a 4 stars. I love Shirley Jackson's writing. Ever since I read Haunting of Hill House, I personally have loved everything that I've devoured with Shirley Jackson. This one was like more of like, dark themed gothic. Um, and the only thing I'm gonna mention is like there's like episodes of like psychosis and schizophrenia, like representation in this, which I thought was very clever. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something with like gothic fiction, I would definitely recommend like checking out anything with Shirley Jackson. But the other book that I wanted to like really talk in depth of is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. And this one was written back in 2022. It is considered YA. It is a duology or a trilogy. I'm not 100% sure, but This was like my first exposure to Chelsea Abdullah's writing. And it really reminded me of Arabian Nights and um like Aladdin and things like that. But the blurb on hardcover says, oh gosh, this name is gonna get botched up so bad. Louis Lou um Al-Nazari, that's the last name at least, is the Midnight Merchant, a criminal who, with the help of her jinn bodyguard, hunts and sells illegal magic. When she saves the life of a cowardly prince, she draws the attention of his powerful father, the Sultan, who blackmails her into finding an ancient lamp that has the power to revive the barren land. With no choice but to obey or to be executed, Luli, Luli, I don't know how to pronounce this name, journeys with the Sultan's oldest son to find the artifact. Aided by her bodyguard, who has secrets of his own, they must survive ghoul attacks, outwit a vengeful Jinn Queen, and confront a malicious killer from her past. And in a world where story is reality and illusion is truth, she will discover that everything, her enemy, her magic, even her own past, is not what it seems, and she must decide who she will become in this new reality. I personally like this one, um, and it really reminded me a lot of Aladdin. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Without the romance and all that, it really reminded me a lot of Aladdin and how that story could have gone in a different path in a different way. Um, I love the fact that, they kind of introduce like the 40 Thieves and things like that. And it really reminded me like the Sultan, like who's supposed to be like this all-powerful great person. He really reminded me a lot of like Jafar from Aladdin. So, but I really like this one. I'm excited about finishing through this series too. I do not physically own any more of this series because this was a book of the month pick for me. But I'm really glad that I did start this series. I know I've like started a lot of series and haven't finished a lot of them either. Um, but I would say like if you're into like Arabian Nights and things like that, it looks like the second book is called The Ashfire King by Chelsea Abdullah. I'm definitely gonna see if I can't obtain that because it is really, really good, the first book. And I'm really excited to see how it like kind of like leads going forward. So, um, but yeah, I my throat is all scratchy now because I feel like I've been talking forever. um, I really hope that you guys enjoyed like this little like kind of difference of episode. I know that when I've been looking at my stats and everything, a lot of people are listening in from like Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much for supporting my podcast. I know I haven't really been getting too much feedback, and it's okay because honestly, I'm having fun with this. But yeah, if there's any books that I listed on this list that you've read, and you're on hardcover, let's chat. Let's connect because I would love to talk about these books a little bit further. But yeah, until next episode, I wish you guys a wonderful August. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and until next time, later.